You're in the garage, mid-project, and your hands are going numb again. I analyzed over 20 garage heaters and filtered the 5 that actually deliver reliable heat from real owner feedback. What I found about coverage ratings will save you from garage heaters that can't keep up. Let's dive in. We're kicking things off at number 5 with the Comfort Zone 6,000 watt ceiling heater. This caught my attention as a solid budget entry point. It's an electric ceiling mount unit that runs on a 30 amp, 240 volt circuit. If you already have that in your garage, installation is straightforward. Heavy gauge steel housing included mounting bracket and a hardwire connection. No gas line, no venting, no carbon monoxide concerns, just heat from the ceiling. Out of the way. 6,000 watts across 3 settings is the real draw. High, medium around 4,500, and low near 3,000. That range matters because you're not always heating to 70. Sometimes you just need to stay above freezing, so wood glue and paint hold up. The thermostat dips as low as 41 degrees, which a lot of units in this class skip entirely. Now, here's a detail worth knowing. The temperature sensor ships mounted inside the rear housing. It picks up heat from the unit itself and causes short cycling. The fix is dead simple. Pull that sensor wire out so it dangles behind the heater. After that, the thermostat reads accurate. Comfort Zone even suggests this when you contact. Strange they don't fix it at the factory, but easy enough to do yourself. The other weak spots are the remote and the fan. The remote feels cheap, and some arrive barely functional. Front panel controls work fine though, so not a deal breaker. The fan is quieter than expected, but also weaker than you'd think for 6,000 watts. You won't feel a strong blast standing underneath. Owners in insulated 2-car garages report it warms up in 20 to 30 minutes. It gets the job done. Quick note on wiring. Code requires 8-gauge wire from the heater to your junction box. Worth confirming with an electrician before you start. For the price, this is a capable pick for a standard garage. The link is in the description. At number 4, we've got a 7,500 watt electric garage heater. And what caught my attention here is Wi-Fi control through the Tuya app. That means you can fire it up from inside the house before you even walk out to the shop. On a cold morning, that changes everything. You also get a remote and an LED touchscreen. Multiple ways to adjust things without leaving your workbench. Spec-wise, 25,000 BTUs covering up to 1,250 square feet. 3 power settings keep it flexible. Full power, 6250 watts, or fan only. One owner with a 1,500 square foot shop says it handles most of the heating alone. Barely needs to run the mini splits. That says a lot about real-world output. But here's where I need to be straight with. The thermostat is a weak spot. Multiple owners report the built-in temp sensor reading off, sometimes by a lot. One person cross-checked with a mercury thermometer and it wasn't close, even after calibrating the offset. If precise temperature control matters, plan on a separate sensor to keep things honest. There's also a detail the listing glosses over. This model can only hang from the ceiling, not wall mountable, worth knowing before you commit to a spot. Installation is hardwired, no plug included. You need a dedicated 240-volt circuit and a properly sized breaker. If that's outside your comfort zone, bring in a licensed electrician. It is ETL certified, so the safety fundamentals check out. The blower pushes heat a solid 10 to 12 feet. Most owners say it runs fairly quiet. For the money, this delivers serious warmth. Just go in knowing the thermostat needs some babysitting. You'll find the link in the description. At number 3, we've got the Omberr 7,000 watt electric garage heater. And this one earns its spot for a specific reason: heat distribution. A lot of garage heaters blast hot air in one direction. You feel warm standing right in front of it, freezing everywhere else. This one takes a different approach. The outlet is wider, the horizontal blades spread airflow out, and the adjustable louvers let you aim heat where you're actually working. That matters when you're moving between a bench, shelves, and the car. You don't want to chase a single hot zone around the room. 7,000 watts through a graphene heating element is serious output. People running this in 2-car garages report going from near freezing to comfortable working temps in about 20 minutes. That's fast for an electric unit, and the thermostat holds steady once it reaches your set temperature, so it's not constantly cycling on and off. Now here's what I appreciate about the design. It mounts to the ceiling, which in a cluttered garage is a big deal. Floor space stays clear. You get 4 angle options from 0 to about 40 degrees, and the louvers sweep from 0 to 130 degrees. Between that and the remote control, you basically set it and forget it. The timer tops out at 9 hours, which is plenty for a weekend session. But let's talk. Honestly, installation is not plug and play. This requires 2 40-volt hard wiring. If you're not comfortable with electrical work, hire an electrician. One owner also noted the mounting brackets feel a bit thin, and the unit itself is heavy and awkward to get up there. Budget for a second pair of hands. There's also a quality control concern worth flagging. At least one unit arrived with a bad control board, showing an error code right out of the box. Most owners have had zero issues, but it's a newer brand, so keep that in mind. The overheat protection does work as designed, shutting down heating and running the fan to cool down if temps get too high. That's a smart safety layer for a workshop environment. For the person who wants ceiling-mounted, even heat across a real working garage, this delivers where it counts. The link is in the description.
These products are great, but there are hundreds of deals every day, and most of them are trash. That's why I pick the 5 best from each category every day and post them for free on Telegram. And you can choose only the categories that interest you with zero spam. Link in the description.
At number 2, we've got the Habitio 60,000 BTU propane heater, and this one earns its spot for a very specific reason. It solves the cold garage problem without touching your electrical panel. No 240-volt circuit, no dedicated breaker, no electrician. Hook up a propane tank, plug into a standard outlet for the fan, and you're heating. 60,000 BTU is serious output, coverage up to nearly 2,200 square feet. For a 2 or 3 car garage, that's more than enough to warm things up fast. You can dial it back to 40,000 BTU when full blast isn't needed, which helps manage fuel costs. And on a 100-pound tank, runtime sits around 36 hours on high and 53 on low. For weekend shop sessions, that could stretch for weeks before a refill. Now, here's something you cannot skip. This is a forced air propane unit. Ventilation is not optional. Crack a door, open a vent, keep air moving. Carbon monoxide is real, and a CO detector nearby is non-negotiable with any propane heater in an enclosed space. The unit itself has overheat protection, auto shutdown on power loss, and CSA certification. But airflow planning is on you. One nice detail: it ships with a 10-foot hose and regulator included. Saves you a hardware store run on day one. The build is no frills. Portable handle, adjustable height, corrosion-resistant housing. Made for garages and job sites, not showrooms. Fair warning on noise. Forced air heaters push a lot of air, and that comes with sound. If you're running power tools, you won't notice. If you want quiet background warmth, this isn't the pick. For the money, though, this combination is hard to beat. High BTU output, solid runtime, and zero electrical upgrades needed. If propane fits your setup, this belongs on your shortlist. Link is in the description. Before we reveal our number 1, be sure to check out the description below for the freshest deals on each of these items. And at number 1, the Dr. Infrared 5600 watt industrial heater. This one earned the top spot for good reason. If your garage turns into a freezer every winter, this is the answer. 5600 watts of forced air heat. That's not a gentle nudge in temperature. That's real, noticeable warmth the moment it kicks on. For a 2 or 3 car garage with decent insulation, this makes a genuine difference. What convinced me to put it here is the build quality. All metal housing, aluminum fan blades, steel safety grille. This is proper shop equipment, not a plastic home appliance pretending to handle a garage. It belongs in a workspace, and it'll survive one too. The thermostat covers 37 to 113 degrees Fahrenheit. Fan runs in auto or continuous mode. Set your temp, walk away, get to work. No app, no smart features, no nonsense. Just a dial, a switch, and heat. There's something refreshing about that simplicity. Now here's the one thing you need to plan for. This requires a dedicated NEMA 630 receptacle. That's a 240-volt, 30-amp circuit. If your garage doesn't already have one, you're calling an electrician. Factor that cost in before you commit. Once that's sorted, the flexibility is a real strength. Use it as a portable floor unit. Mount it on a wall, mount it on the ceiling. Built-in cord storage keeps things tidy. In a cluttered workshop, that matters more than you'd think. Safety-wise, it carries UL and CUL certification with automatic overheat shutoff. In a high wattage unit running around sawdust and solvents, those aren't just nice to have, they're essential. This is the most well-rounded garage heater on the list. Serious output, tough construction, proven brand. Hard to argue with that combination. You'll find the link in the description. Now you know which garage heaters actually deliver reliable heat, and which ones can't keep up when it matters. Stock tends to thin out once cold weather hits, so if one fits your setup, links are in the description.